Hi guys, my name is Jamie. This is my first video. I am a homeschool mom of two boys and I have a 10-month-old baby. My boys are currently in first grade and kindergarten. And I wanted to start a YouTube channel to talk to you about my homeschool and our curriculum, our routines, how we do a day in the life of our homeschool, how I run my homeschool, my classroom, how I plan for my homeschool, and just some of the different activities that we do as a homeschool family. Today I thought I would do a video on our homeschool routine and I don't want to call it a schedule because it's more of a routine. So I have several different routines I have tried, and I am very happy with this one that we are currently doing. I think we've had 3 routines this year. Just trying to. This is my second year homeschooling, and yes, last year looked a lot different than this year because I've had to juggle in a baby, and that's quite difficult thing to do, to try to figure out his schedule and their schedule. So I'm going to show you what we started off with at the beginning of the year, and I'm going to tell you how I have adapted it. So I created this at the beginning of the year, and it just pretty much says we do have co-op on Mondays, and we were in performing arts, which was a club that we did after co-op. That pretty much took up our entire day. We had breakfast in the morning and chores. Then we did travel time because our co-op was 30 minutes away. And then we had co-op from 9:45 until 12. And then 12 o'clock we would eat lunch with our co-op friends. And then at 12:30 started our performing arts. And we were in performing arts until about 1:30. And then I would drive back home and it would be 2 o'clock. And you can see it takes up most of our day. Since we started back in January, we stopped doing co-op right now only because of the performance that they're doing. Not co-op, I'm so sorry. We're still in co-op. But because of their performing arts, their last performance was actually on our vacation time. Like, we're going away on vacation. So since my boys were going to be missing the actual performance, the talent show, we've decided that we will not be going to performing arts after starting January until May when co-op is finished, and then we'll start it back up next year. That was our plan as of right now. So on Tuesdays through Friday we have like a different schedule than Monday, and it's completely different from this. So I used to do, for like a normal day, we would have chores, 1.5 hours of school, snack break, 1.5 hours of school, lunch break. We would be finish school, whatever we did not finish in the afternoon. And what I was finding was, with the baby and my 2 boys working together, school was taking us forever. We were having to come back after lunch and still do an hour or 2 hours, and it wasn't working for us. The boys together were getting really distracted. They were playing, they were looking at each other and what they were doing and not focusing on their own work. Also, there's only one of me. So if the baby needed me, then I wasn't working with them at the moment and they were just sitting there. Or if I was reading with my first grade son and he was working with me one-on-one reading, I was trying to give my kindergartner like a little 5-folder game or some type of activity to do by himself, and I just felt like that was just wasted time or busy time, and it was taking him much longer. Like, I might be reading with my first grade son for 35 minutes and he was just playing games for 35 minutes when he could be working with me. So school was just taking us a lot longer, or I felt like it was, and I felt like they weren't learning as much and it wasn't as productive. So I reflected on this and I decided to change our homeschool routine. Excuse me. I call it a routine because on a day when I know it's going to rain all day and we wake up and it's not raining yet, we might go outside and play first thing in the morning, or we might go on a walk first thing in the morning because we like to walk every day. And then we'll come back and start our school. So that kind of depends. But our normal homeschool routine starts with breakfast every morning. The kids wake up about 7 o'clock, give or take some time. We have breakfast. They do their chores, which consist of making their bed, getting dressed, brushing their teeth. My oldest son has to feed the pets. My youngest son has to help me empty the dishwasher. I'll ask them to help me bring any laundry from upstairs down to the laundry room so I can start a load of laundry first thing. Sometimes I'll ask them to help me collect all the trash on trash day so that we can get the trash out to the streets. So they kind of help me just do different little activities throughout the house. We start school roughly around 8 o'clock every day. I always start with my kindergarten son. I just think it works better for him. And my baby normally gets up around 5 o'clock every morning, 6 o'clock, 5 and 6, and he's normally ready for a nap between 8 and 8:30. So I try to get him down so it's quiet. That gives me time to work with my 5-year-old one-on-one in a very quiet environment. You're probably thinking, well, what is my other son doing? Well, he always goes and he has a choice of like Legos, reading a book, coloring, playing with Play-Doh, playing with some like of his little imaginary toys. Like he has little, not imaginary toys, but like imaginary play or creative play. He has like little dinosaurs and little animals, and he can play with those. He has to be doing something, a puzzle. Normally it's a quieter activity. During this time with my 5-year-old, we do morning work, which every day he has a morning work binder, and I'm going to do a curriculum video to show you all of these things and link when the curriculum video, I'll link where I got that. He has a morning work binder, and then he has a little morning work book that I got from the Dollar Tree, and then he has to do one sheet from a set of sheets that I had when I actually taught kindergarten. Then he goes, and these are like reviews, most of these cover everything. And then he goes into reading next. For reading, we do letter of the week, and we use a lady's curriculum. Like I said, I'll do a video about all their curriculum. He does a letter of the week. He has a sight word of the week we'll work on. We'll read some readers that are in his level. Sight word readers, and then another little reader. Every day I try to get him to read like a little reader to me. We'll do phonics and letter sounds, different things like that for reading. For math, he's working on just finishing up his math curriculum. I actually use Zern for that, which is an online platform, but it has printable things that I just print out. I used it when I was a public school teacher. I really liked it. My kids really like it, so I've just continued it now that I'm a homeschool mom. It is free, and it has a small group lesson plan, and that's what I pull, and I work with my kids on that, and then they can also do the online platform part too. So we do math, and then we do writing, and writing is very different between my two kids. All their work is very different between the two of them. So writing for my kindergarten son is mainly we talk about capitalization, punctuation. I'm trying to get him to be able to form a few simple sentences. Sometimes I'll ask him, like, we will go to the zoo. Well, write me 2 sentences about the zoo. Sometimes it'll be something to do with his letter of the week. Like last week we learned about the letter G. So his sentence was, I have a gumball machine with 6 gumballs. Well, he got to pick the number with blank gumballs. And I had him write the sentence, and then he had to draw a picture of a gumball and put the little gumballs in the picture. It's mainly just to get him used to spaces, capitalization, forming his own thoughts, creating a sentence. That's my main focus with him with writing. This takes my youngest son in kindergarten anywhere from an hour into an hour and a half to complete all of his morning tasks. And then he also has the Zern Math, that is an online platform, and it takes him, I'd normally make him do 2 to 3 games on it, and that takes him 15 minutes. And while he's working on that, normally I can go ahead and pull my oldest son. And it just has little different games. Like one game he has to, it'll say, feed the lion 13 apples, and he has to be able to count out the apples. and then feed them. And it started with numbers 0 through 5, and then it went to numbers 5 through 10, then it goes 15 through 20. And then there's a counting train where like you click on boxes, and the train cars are at the bottom with the numbers, and you'll have to, the boxes at the top, and you click on a box, and it'll throw out some things that fall out of the box, and he has to put it in the right train car based on the number of items. Another one of the games is with 10 frames, and it'll show him a number with 10 frames, and he has to break it apart. Just different little games that he has to play on Zern. But it takes him about an hour to an hour and a half every day for school. Then he gets to go and play. He again has the same option: Magnetiles, Legos, building blocks, Play-Doh, color, artsy stuff, crafts, because they have like a little behind me in that door, and I'll give you a tour of that too. That's our library, and we have board games in there, and we have other little craft things for them to do. So they can go there and they can read a book, they can draw, they can color, they can do puzzles, they can play with some toys that I have out. Just something. I prefer for it to be a quieter activity, and I prefer for it to be not only quiet, but something that kind of makes them think or be creative, makes them use their brains a little bit. And while I'm doing that, then I would repeat the same subjects, but with my first grade son. So he does his morning work. He has the same morning work binder. His binder's a little different, with different activities in it, and he has a morning workbook as well. And then we go into reading with him every day. We do a reading comprehension, like a passage or a poem, and then he has to read to me every day. We work on phonics. He has to do his phonics skill every day. And then we go into writing, and he has a writing curriculum, and it has units in it, and every day he has to kind of complete like a piece in the writing process for that unit. For example, right now he's working on heroes. So he has like a little thing he has to work on every day, and at the end of the unit he will have created a writing piece on heroes. And then he has math as well, which is Zern, and for him I do a daily word problem first, and then after that he'll do a lesson with me or talk to me, and we'll kind of go over whatever he's doing that day, and then he breaks from me and he goes and does Zern on the computer. This takes him a little longer on the computer because it's set up to like a game, a fluency activity, and then it has like the actual lesson, and she reteaches it or teaches it. So I give it to him over there, and then he gets to hear someone else reteach it over here. They give him an example, they do the example together, they do a few more by himself, and then it has another little game at the end that kind of uses that skill, and then he gets to be done with math. And so it takes him a little bit longer to do his schoolwork, 1.5 to 2.5 hours, depending. 2.5 with like an extreme stretch, like mainly if he's not focused and he gets unfocused, or if like the baby wakes up and I'm nursing the baby or doing something with the baby, it'll slow him down. Or if he's doing writing, sometimes he likes to like say, well, Mom, I want to draw a picture with my writing, and he'll want to spend a good amount of time on that picture. Rarely does it go to 2.5 hours. It's normally just 2 hours. So I've done 3 hours so far of sit down with my boys, and they've done, my youngest has done 1 hour, my oldest has done 2 hours. After that we have a break, and now as you can see, so I said we start school around 8:30, so it's about, my first son's done around 9, and then I start with my second son at 9, and he's done at 11, so it's about 11 o'clock in our day. And some of our days look a little different. I'll explain to you what kind of changes those hours in just 1 minute. So after that, we'll have a break. So it's 11 o'clock. We like to go on a walk if it's pretty. We play outside if it's pretty. I normally do lunch exactly at 12 o'clock. So they have like an hour of free time, of playtime. And then we eat lunch. And then after lunch, they get a little bit of free time, because I put the, depending on how fast they eat lunch. My baby, again, he goes down for his afternoon nap between 1 and 1:30, sometimes 2, and I actually don't start back school until he's down for a nap. It just seems to go better that way. So sometimes they get an hour before lunch, we have our lunch, and then they get an hour after lunch. So anywhere between 1 and 2, we start school back. And the way that I do that is with a loop schedule, and I'm going to show you what I created. So this is, and I don't know why I put Saturday on there. I was not thinking, but this is our daily schedule, and then I just mark it with a dry erase marker or a wet erase marker, and then at the end of the week I clear it. And I really didn't have to put Monday on there either because we have co-op. The reason I put Monday on there is because we do not have co-op every week. We only do 3 weeks out of the month. There's always one Monday that we do not have co-op, so I left it for that reason. But at the top it says like read aloud, morning work, Bible, reading, math. That's because I want to do that every day. Down here is my loop schedule. So what we do is when we come back from lunch, to our afternoon schooling, what I do is I do the Bible with the kids. We normally just read a Bible story, or we'll do some type of activity to go along with the Bible story for that week. I try to stay on one Bible story per week. And then from there we'll go into a read aloud, and this varies. Sometimes I'll read them a book, sometimes I'll read them in a chapter book and I'll read just a chapter to them. Sometimes I can read them several little books. Just depends on how much they want to be read to, really. But I try to just remember because we have the subjects down here, and sometimes we come back and we'll read more afterwards, especially if it's like Halloween or Christmas. Seasonal books, they could listen to seasonal books all day. So at the bottom down here I have our loop schedule. We have science, history. It used to be writing, but their writing was so different that I changed it to language and grammar. And I just start with like, what is a noun? What is a verb? And we just do little activities with more like that. Punctuation, capitalization. Then I have art and music. And the way that my loop schedule works is, so we come back from lunch and I do about an hour and a half. I do Bible and read aloud. That takes about 30 minutes. Then I come down here and I do an hour. I set up my phone to a timer. We have 1 hour. And we just work through these subjects. So let's say on Tuesday we do science and history. Well, then on Wednesday I know I'm going to start with language. And we normally can only get through 2 a day. Sometimes we do 1 a day, sometimes we do 3 a day. It really depends on the day and what I have planned. So we go through these because these are their together subjects. And the way that I plan for those subjects is I'll say science, and I'll do a list of things I want to get done that week that focus on whatever we're studying that week. And then I'll go to history and I'll do the same thing. I'll make a list of little activities that I want us to do. And then I just highlight through the week. And then whatever we don't get through, most of the time I'll roll it over to the next week. And I will show you that in a planning video. I'm hoping to do a planning video about these subjects, and I'll show you that. So overall, we spend about an hour and a half in the afternoons doing schoolwork. After that's finished, they're free the rest of the day to do whatever. A lot of times we'll try to go back out when my son wakes up from his nap on another walk, or go out to play. We'll go to the park because the park is in walking distance to our house. So overall, my 5-year-old is in school for about 2.5 to 3 hours, and my oldest son is in school for 3.5 to 4 hours, rarely 4 though. And I feel like with that we get a lot accomplished. I hope you liked my video. If you did, make sure you hit the like button below and subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to be doing a lot more videos about homeschooling and just mom life in general, but a lot of them about homeschooling. Thank you again. Hope you'll subscribe. I'll see you on my next video. Bye.